Here are your fantasy football risers and fallers after week 1 of the NFL season. We're starting out with the risers. Travis Etienne, 16 carries, $143, chips in 3 catches for 13 yards, a big 71-yard run that maybe could have gone longer, but it didn't get in the end zone, but still. The other running backs, Tank Bigsby, Bashal Tootin, a lot less work. It looks like Etienne, based on this performance, should have a stranglehold on this backfield for at least the next month and maybe longer through the end of the season. But Travis Etienne definitely looks like he fit in Liam Cohen's new offense in Jacksonville. Justin Fields of the New York Jets. It may have been the best overall game of his career. Not taking sacks, not holding the ball too long, 16 of 22, 218 yards, a touchdown, no picks against the tough Pittsburgh defense. Of course, Fields on the ground, 12 for 48, chips in 2 rushing touchdowns, over 30 fantasy points. Fields had a chance to lead the team to win. Garrett Wilson took a big hit from Jalen Ramsey and couldn't hang on to a first down completion that would have given, again, the Jets a chance to win. But Justin Fields looks remarkable, and the defenses are not always going to be anywhere near the level that Pittsburgh was. Look out for Justin Fields. Same team. Breece Hall, all that preseason talk. Oh, Braylon Allen is the 1B, Breece Hall is the 1A. They're going to be interchangeable. Please. Breece Hall is one of the best running backs in the NFL. He played through a sprained knee last year. I didn't think Coach Aaron Glenn was going to be foolish enough to give these two an equal split. Well, Breece Hall, 19 carries, Braylon Allen, 6. Breece Hall, 4 targets, Braylon Allen, 0. Now, Braylon Allen scored a touchdown, good for him. But Breece Hall puts up 145 yards on 21 touches. That's the Breece Hall we know and love. That's the player we're going to get this year. You drafted him, especially in that late preseason slide where he was going even in the 4th and 5th round. You got yourself a massive value. Smile and be happy. Justin Herbert is next, Los Angeles Chargers. It was stunning to me. Coach Greg Roman, the big run game guru. We know that idea. The Chargers want to run the ball and play defense. Well, in the season opener, Justin Herbert, in a game they led throughout, through 34 pass attempts, while the team had 18 non-quarterback runs, almost a 2-to-1 pass-to-run ratio. That was unexpected. Justin Herbert getting it done. Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston, even Tyler Conklin. Justin Herbert is an elite quarterback. We know he's without his left tackle for the season. They moved Joe Alt over there, so now they're without a right tackle. But that said, Justin Herbert's an elite quarterback, and if they are going to trust him, and if his weapons stay healthy, this could be a very, very fun season for Justin Herbert. Next, Deebo Samuel of the Washington Commanders. What an opener for Samuel. 10 targets, catching 7 for 77. They handed him off the ball in the backfield on a little reverse. Runs in for a 19-yard touchdown. We end up with 96 scrimmage yards and a touchdown. Now, Terry McLaurin didn't do much working back from offseason contract strife. They'll be fine. But Deebo Samuel, teams are going to play the Commanders with that deep shell to keep Daniels from the big plays. Deebo Samuel's going to do a lot of damage underneath. May not be the player he was with the 49ers, but this is a great situation for him. Next, Zach Charbonnet, Seattle Seahawks. I was telling people, Kenneth Walker and, this outside zone, they don't have a quarterback. Sam Darnold's terrible. Defense are going to overload the box. While Walker's dancing and looking for holes, they're not going to be there. Zach Charbonnet is no nonsense. He'll get downhill. That will work better. Well, Zach Charbonnet out-carries Walker 12-10. Yards not even close. 4 yards per carry for Charbonnet. 2 yards per carry for Walker. Zach Charbonnet, do not be surprised if he is the lead back in his backfield and Walker is your change of pace guy. Draft cost didn't tell you that. Fantasy community was picking up on that a little bit before the draft with Charbonnet, but it didn't pick up on Walker. Charbonnet may be your guy. Next, back to the Chargers. Keenan Allen leads the team with 10 targets, one more than Ladd McConkey. Allen, 7 for 68 and a touchdown. We said this in the preseason as well. Look, Ladd McConkey's a great player, and he's going to get plenty of targets. But when it's a money down, Herbert has 2 choices. He can go to McConkey, full trust in him. But all those years with Keenan Allen, full trust in Keenan Allen. So they are both going to eat. They're both going to see targets. Keenan Allen is going to have a high floor most weeks. Hollywood Brown, Kansas City Chiefs, 10 catches, 99 yards, 16 targets because Xavier Worthy left the game on the third play with a shoulder injury. Now, as of this recording, don't know how much time Worthy will miss, if any. We do know that Rashee Rice is gone for 6 weeks on suspension. Hollywood Brown was brought in last year to be a big part of the passing game. He got injured. It never happened. But the extra reps that he's getting may keep him relevant all season long. And then Chris Olave, 13 targets because Spencer Rattler threw the ball 46 times. Look, 7 for 54 is not a great stat line for Olave. But if you're going to tell me 12.4 PPR points, that's not a bad floor. So Chris Olave is going to see a lot of work as a short and intermediate receiver for Spencer Rattler. Hey, if you're enjoying this breakdown, take a second, hit like and subscribe. It helps keep that fantasy advice rolling your way. If you want even more of RotoWire's tools, rankings, and insights, we got a 15% discount just for our YouTube viewers. You go to rotowire.com, you choose that subscription, use the code YouTube15 at checkout. All right, the fallers. A.J. Brown, 1 catch, 8 yards, 1 target. Came about 2 minutes left in the game. Now, I know he was fighting through a hamstring injury in the offseason. I don't think it was it. I think what happened was Dallas, second half, this was weird. Dallas stacks the box. All right, we'll stop Barkley and we'll play zone in the back. Jalen Hurts struggled against zone. New coach on the offense, Kevin Patullo, not really making adjustments. Get the ball to your receivers. Take advantage of those bad Dallas cornerbacks. Didn't happen. A.J. Brown got very little love. Now, this Eagles team, they're going to win a lot of games. They're going to have favorable game script. They might run a lot. But I do have to think that A.J. Brown is going to get the football. But this shows us there are going to be weeks where that's not going to happen. So A.J. Brown may put up great numbers at the end of the season. But it could be a little bit of a ride to get there because there could be some down weeks. Next, Isiah Pacheco, Kansas City Chiefs, a faller as well. 5 carries, 25 yards, okay. 2 catches, 3 yards. But here's the problem. Those 5 rushes and 3 targets, exact amount that the washed-up Kareem Hunt had. Andy Reid must love Kareem Hunt. At the expense of Pacheco, to me, it's foolishness. To Andy Reid, it's not. But as long as this is a timeshare, Isiah Pacheco is not getting that volume we expected when we drafted him. Another faller, despite a big play touchdown. Travis Kelce goes 2 for 47 and a touchdown. Why is he a faller? All right, it was a busted coverage or, good play design. Kelce wide open for the touchdown. It was beautiful, 38 yards. But in a game with basically no Xavier Worthy, no Rashee Rice, 4 targets. He was a non-factor till that play late in the game. Well, Kelce's 36 almost. And Father Time has shown the last few years he slipped. That slip's continuing. And he's a player, you got him on your roster, you're happy with the touchdown? Trade him while he has some value. It doesn't look good for Kelce. And then Brian Thomas Jr. We talked about this all preseason. With Trevor Lawrence last year, Brian Thomas averaged 13 PPR points, 5.7 targets a game. But with Mac Jones, it was always 10 to 14 targets, 23 PPR points per game. Well, same deal with Trevor Lawrence again. Targets Thomas 7 times, 1 catch, 11 yards. Now, fortunately, Brian Thomas had a schemed-up run, ran it in for a touchdown. But Trevor Lawrence, don't trust him. Don't trust him at all. Makes poor decisions, goes off his read too quickly. Brian Thomas will end up being okay for fantasy, but I don't think he's going to be the player he was with Mac Jones, and that is insane. Bucky Irving's next, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 14 carries, 37 yards, less than 3 yards per carry. He did catch a receiving touchdown, 4 catches, only 8 yards. Now, I know left tackle Tristan Wirfs was out, but it's clear. Liam Cohen's gone. The offense and all the magic last year, maybe it's not there. And it was the perfect storm last year. Maybe Bucky Irving gets better, but against a weak Atlanta defense, this was not a good showing. We mentioned earlier Kenneth Walker. Don't need to go over that again, but he's in the fallers. 10 carries, 20 yards. Zach Charbonnet completely outplayed him. And then TreVeyon Henderson. All right, so he got 6 catches. We like that. 11 touches, 51 yards. Okay. But realistically, Ramondre Stevenson had 2 more carries, and the targets were 6-3 in favor of Henderson. And Henderson was, in a real NFL game, was not that explosive player he was against backups the preseason. Henderson will be a good player, but this is going to be probably a timeshare all year long. And Henderson is going to occasionally having good games, but he's not the player he was in preseason. And then Tyreek Hill, already sulking on the sidelines, 4 catches, 40 yards, 6 targets. Miami is not a good team. This ship is going to sink fast. And Tyreek Hill probably not going to want to be on that boat. Probably going to be mentally checked out pretty soon if he isn't already. And then Jameson Williams, 4 catches, 23 yards. Jared Goff, I know it was the Packers, and I know they have Micah Parsons, who played limited snaps. New offensive coordinator, interior offensive line. Jared Goff looked terrible. That's at the expense of Jameson Williams.